Good evening. Evening. Ako po si Samboy Humawas, AIM 3. So ngayon gabi po ay nag-interview po ako ng isang missionary. At meron akong ibigay sa kanya ng mga katanungan para regarding about mission work. Okay, si missionary po ay magpakilala po.
Good evening everyone. Ako po si Missionary Renmar Tunog, Missionary Dorayong, Thailand.
Okay po. Missionary, ito po yung unang katanungan po. What inspired you to pursue missionary work in this particular location, and how has your experience differed from your initial expectation?
What moves my heart to pursue my desire to become a missionary in Thailand? As I seen the lives of Thai people, most of them haven't heard Jesus Christ. I am a teacher there at the same time. I help the ministry in Chunbury, Thailand, and I have seen most of my students haven't heard about Jesus Christ, and that really moves my heart to surrender my life in the mission field there in Thailand, because I have seen the lives of the Thai people. Most of them, if one day they will die, surely will go to hell. So that really moves my heart to surrender my life. Though at first I am expecting that most of the Thai people were good because they believe in merit. They believe in doing good for them to go to heaven. But some of them really has a different culture, has a different behavior, and you cannot expect out good, but only that God will work within their hearts.
Amen. Thank you, missionary. Proceed po tayo sa second question po. Can you share a specific moment or story from your time in the field that had a profound impact on you or in the community you serve? What lesson did you learn from that experience?
The thing that I've learned in Thai, they really respect elders. In what areas of life they really respect elders. They give a high regard to elders. That's really gives me a profound and an idea what to do with the locals, because most of the children out there, especially when they are elders, will tell them, they will really obey. That really, one time I shared the gospel to one of the elders. You need really to act. You need really to show respect to them before approaching them, because most of the Thai people, even in school, in church, in temple, most of the Thai people really give respect to the elders. That's why every time we do something there in Thailand, especially as we share the gospel, especially those elders will really give respect first, gesture of respect like Sawadee Ka, then doing some respect. We are not standing above them, but we are leveling or lower with them so that we could share the gospel.
Thank you, missionary. Story. Our next question is, how do you navigate culture differences and languages barriers in your missionary work? And what strategies have you found to be most effective in building relationship with the local community?
Language difference is very big in Thailand.
Yes.
Because their language is not that easy, and most of them doesn't know how to speak English, though they're studying English, but they can hardly speak English. And what I did in order for me to get in with the locals, I build first a relationship, then learn their vocabularies, how they speak, and what are the common words they are using, and that's the time that I can get into them. So the most important thing there is that we build the relationship first. As long as we build the relationship with the locals, though whatever thing we share to them, if their hearts are not ready or they're not ready to receive the gospel, as long as we build relationship, it's hard for them to break it. So that's what we do first. in order for us to get in with them, build the relationship, then by and by learn the language.
Thank you, Missionary, for tips that you give to us. Our next question is, in what ways do you collaborate with local organizations or individuals do you address the needs of the community? Can you share an example of successful partnership and its outcome?
Actually, we have in our ministry there in Chunburi, also in Rayong, we have medical missions. These medical missions are composed of different doctors from all around the world. We tap with mayors and also the health organizations in a city, or we call it in the Muang, wherein we build a rapport to them that what we are doing is not to convert the Thai people to become Christians, but what we are doing is through a foundation. We have that foundation, we do some activities, like in every November we go in Chunburi and in Rayong, we do the medical mission, and we purely just do medical mission, and at the end we share the gospel. That's why we build a good relationship with mayors out there and with the officials in the cities. And also there are times during December's we're having some gift givings. We go to some slum areas or some barangays or district in different places. Then we just reach out the local, tell them that there will be gift giving, and we just give gifts to them. At the same time we share the gospel. So that's what we are doing. We contact first the head of the village or the community, then we ask them if we can do these activities, and also we build a relationship for them so that in the next year we can still do the same activity.
Okay, thank you, Missionary. Well, it's another privilege to help the people there in Thailand. Our next question is, missionary work often comes with challenges and hardship. Can you discuss some of challenges you face in the field and how you overcome them?
The greatest challenges in the missionary work first is expectation versus reality.
Mm-hmm.
We sometimes missionaries thought that when I get to the field, after a year or 2 years or a month, we could have the local. But the reality is this, it doesn't go that way. All things work according to God's plan. We need first to build a relationship with the locals. Then after that, we just pray to God how it will work. There in Chunburi, almost 2 years that we pray to God that we could have a local convert, a Thai convert. And after 2 years, God granted. Can you imagine the long span of how we invested the time on praying? First, God gave us Filipino. And these Filipinos became the foundation, became a great help in our ministry. But not all Filipinos, Christian Filipinos remain. Some of them will just go away, they just there for a facade in the ministry. But as time goes by, we just pray, we just soul win, we just give tracts, then God bless the sacrifices. After 2 years, we're able to have the locals, then that local became also a just for the start, we backslide, but with God's grace, as we continue, God will give a pure-hearted locals that are willing to give their lives to Jesus Christ. So that's what we do. There are things that we expect, there are things that we want to happen, there are things that we set high in the things in the ministry. It's not wrong, but there are things that God put within the ministry by and by so that we will depend more on Him. So let God work. We do our best in the ministry and let God do the working power in the hearts of the locals.
Amen, missionary. So, many, I know it's a very hardship to handle there, no? Because we are not the same culture.
Yeah.
So the hardship is, but by God's grace, Lord will help us
Yeah.
to ensure, to endure what the faith that we are fighting.
Yes, and also, by the way, also with the belief of the locals, it's really, really hard to work with, for example, in Thailand, they are in Theravada Buddhism, they are really die-hard in Buddhism, even they are willing to hurt themselves, just only Buddha will answer their prayers. But with God's grace, if God will work within the hearts of the people, there's nothing impossible with God. That's what we hold on.
Yes, amen. So, this is our last question, missionary. What advice would you give to individuals who are considering pursuing missionary work in similar contexts? What qualities or skills do you believe are essential for success in the field?
First, have a closer relationship with God. Pray if it is the perfect will of God. If God revealed it to you, then the first thing that you need to do when you are there already in the field is study the language. That's one of the most important things we as missionaries we need to possess, is that we know the language of the locals. Though the local knows how to speak English, but not all of them. So if we want a long-lasting result for the locals, we could build lives, we could build church, and we could lead locals that will continue the churches. We need first to study the language. That's the most important thing. Our communication skills to reach out the locals, talk with them, disciple them, win them to Christ. Everything will just go on first if we know the language. So the first thing that we need to have first is have faith in God, then wisdom to study the language. Then after that, we need to have the adaptability. Not all things that we want to do, we can do in the country. There are some restrictions. There are some things that we need to do away with. There are some things that we need to consider. But above all, we need to stick what the Bible has said. So that's what we need to do. Just pray that God will continually give us wisdom on how to deal with these locals. We have different areas. We have different fields. We have different people. But it is God that could able to bless and give the increase.
Wow, thank you, missionary, for the interview that you given to me and to us, that to know more about what's happening in the Thailand. So the best important is have faith in God and the language also.
Yes.
You need to study. One way to communicate the local and to win their hearts also. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay,
missionary.
welcome, brother.